Hello, YouTube. The greatest time of the year is finally upon us, and we've had Mariah Carey in our ears for the last 3 weeks, torturing us already, but it's finally time for the December TBR video, and it's finally time for Christmas, which is my favorite time of the year, of course. And, well, I'm Lion. This is my channel, Hobbies of Van, and today we're doing our TBR video like I just said, and so let's get started. So I do want to say that my TBR video this month is more of a guideline. I mean, usually every time TBR videos are guidelines, but I do try to stick to them as much as possible. In this case, I'm only really trying to stick to like half of it, and everything else can, you know, change according to whatever happens during the month. And, well, I don't know if I'm gonna have a wrap-up video for this month. I'm gonna definitely have the check-in video, but I was looking at my schedule, and I think that the best way for me to do this year is to have a check-in video sometime in the middle of the month. Then I'm going to have the last video of the month on the 23rd, which is a Friday, and then I will have a post-holiday wrap-up video or check-in video, whatever I decide to call it, at the beginning of the year before we get into the January side of things. That might change. I might do it in the last couple days of the year. Like I might have a holiday check-in kind of video on the 30th or 31st, and then start, you know, clean slate, January TBR on January 1st. I'm not sure. I haven't really decided that much, but I do know that the last video of the year, like as in the last thing I want to have be part of the year in my mind is definitely going to be on the 23rd of December. And if I have a video before the end of the year, after that, it's more in the limbo between the 2 years, according to my channel. So we'll see how that goes, if it happens at all, or if it doesn't, I don't know. I haven't really figured it out yet, but that means that I will have a haul video sometime between the 21st and the 23rd to finish talking about the stuff that I bought this year. And that will not include anything I buy during the holidays or anything I receive during the holidays. So I hope that works. And if it doesn't, oh well, it is what it is. But I don't think I'm going out of town this year, so it'll be easier to make videos if I need to. So let's actually get into the TBR now. So we're gonna stick to the system that we've been doing the last couple of times, starting with digital stuff, then physical stuff. And we're gonna start with novels, then comics, and then manga. So starting off with the digital novels, we'll have Second Chance Swordsman, which is a carryover from last month because, well, I didn't get to finish it. I think I'm about 40% through the novel, and I do hope to finish it as soon as possible. Then transitioning over to the physical side of things, I have 4 novels. Starting with Lord of Goblins. I've been owing Moonco a review for this for a while, so I definitely want to get it by the end of the year. So we'll see if that happens. This is the 3rd book in their Lord of Goblins series. Lord of Goblins is basically a military sci-fi turned isekai turned medieval fantasy, which is kind of weird to wrap your head around, but basically there's this urban sci-fi, military sci-fi kind of dude. He dies, gets reborn into a fantasy world, and he becomes a goblin. He's actually one of the weaker goblins, but because of his military training, he's able to develop the strength of his people, and so he develops himself into a Lord of Goblins, and he uses modern military tactics to develop his people and stuff like that. And well, he is in a medieval fantasy type of setting, and it's pretty good. Sometimes a lot of it is not that great because the flashback sequences to tell the original story don't necessarily work that well. I think I've said this every time I've reviewed it, the best thing that could have happened, what would have been pretty difficult to swallow for readers, would be for it to be a military sci-fi story first, then transition into an isekai, then turn into the fantasy thing. Because I think that switching over between the two and trying to go backwards in time and try to explain where this character learned his techniques like that through like Jason Bourne style flashbacks doesn't really work that well, but it is the way that they've chosen to do it, so they have to deal with that, right? So yeah, there you go. That's Lord of Goblins. We have a Star Wars book. This is The High Republic, The Fallen Star. This is the last adult novel in the first phase of The High Republic. Hopefully I like it. If I do, I'm going to continue reading them. If I don't, I'll stop reading The High Republic because, well, realistically, these novels aren't actually canon, or they're canon until someone decides that they're not. And, well, that's kind of disheartening, and it doesn't make you actually want to read these because what's the point, right? I don't know. I really liked the first one. I thought it was really great. I also had really, really low expectations for it, so maybe that's why. The second one I had middling expectations for, and it did disappoint me a little bit, but generally I did enjoy the Jedi aspect of things. I didn't really care too much about the politics because, well, they weren't very interesting, or they weren't handled that well, but, you know, it is what it is. This one I'm really excited to get into. I know that some stuff happens here that I've heard before, but I haven't really gotten around to it, so I'm very, very excited for it. I already read the description for this last month, so I'm not going to do it again, but basically the Starlight Beacon is in trouble, and they have to deal with it because the Nile are poised to attack, and it's going to be very, very interesting. Honestly, I just hope that they decide to turn these into television shows and make them the way they are. I would also like it to be in the Clone Wars style animation, since I think that's the best animation style that they have. And I really don't want them to develop a new one just to, you know, fuck it up, because the two times that they did that, they really messed up. So yeah. And then second to last novel here is Our World's Magic #2. My buddy C.A. McDivitt was nice enough to send me this, and I told him I was going to review it, and then I haven't yet, so I need to. But of course, it's mostly just a question of when I'll get to it, rather than if I'll get to it. And once I get around to it, I will pretty quickly read this, since it doesn't really have too much text per page. So yeah, hopefully one of these days I get around to having some illustrations in these books. Hopefully C.A. McDivitt can swing that sometime. So yeah, and the last novel here is actually one that I started that was kind of not on my TBR last month, which was Pirates of Venus. This is another Edgar Rice Burroughs series. This one is the first book in the Amtar series, which is the Venus series, of course. And it follows this guy called Carson Napier, who wants to go to Mars on a spaceship in the like 80s or something. No, actually in the 1930s, I think. But actually ends up on Venus instead. So he overshot so badly that he turned around and went backwards into somewhere else. And then he meets a beautiful princess. I think she's purple skinned for some reason. I don't remember if that's true or not, because I haven't gotten around to that part of the story yet. And well, he, you know, does what Edgar Rice heroes do and insta loves the female character, and of course decides to turn his life around for her, which is, you know, pretty standard. And you know, it is what it is for pulp heroes. And yeah, I kind of like this cover, but I also kind of don't, because it's really hard to see what's going on here. But I think this is a Frank Frazetta cover, or it might be a Boris Vallejo one. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can find out. I don't think it says here. So the art copyright is definitely for Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated, but I can't see if they mention who actually did the artwork. Let's see if it says back here. Doesn't seem like it. But there's an ad for Andre Norton. That's weird. I was hoping it would say. Well, it doesn't look like it. Oh well. But yeah, this is probably a Frank Frazetta cover. There's that classic plumpness on the muscles that Frazetta likes. So yeah, moving on to the comic books, I have two different series that I want to read. One is Dark One. This is a carryover from last year, or sorry, from last month. I'm already thinking January. when I'm still a month away from that month. So yeah, Dark One, this is a Brandon Sanderson story. I don't know if it has to do anything with the Cosmere. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It's published by Vault, and that's partially why I bought it. Also partially because I'm a big fan of Brandon Sanderson. And well, I'm excited to get into it. I think this one is another, you know, dabbling into the what if the dark guy or what if the bad guy won, which is, you know, pretty fun. Although thinking about it, there's already been stories like that because, well, Star Wars, the bad guy did win, and that's kind of the whole point of that movie. And you know, what do you do when darkness has befallen people, right? So yeah, and the second story here is Barbarella, issues 1 through 10 of the recent Dynamite series. I really enjoyed the Sheena one. I bought this one when there was a big sale where I got it all for like 10 bucks, maybe not even that, maybe like 6 or 7, I don't remember. Meaning that I saved myself like $10 if I had bought the physical collected edition, which actually, no, I would have saved myself, because those physical collected editions would be 2 different editions. Each of them is 17 bucks. So that's $34. If I bought this for 10, I saved myself $24. So that's a big, big save there. And of course, I have a new big iPad, so it's going to be really easy to read this and really, really enjoyable, which was not the case with my little iPad mini that I had for like 8 years. I think I got that for my 15th birthday. Yeah. I think that's the case, but neither here nor there. You guys don't really care about that stuff. So that's it for the comic books, but of course I'm going to be reading all the comic books that I buy weekly, so that's also going to be part of the TBR. Now let's get into the good stuff here, the manga. Now I don't really currently have any digital manga on the list, but I might end up reading another arc of Bleach. I think I forgot to mention yesterday in my wrap-up video that I did read the first 50 chapters of the Outrun Car Saga, so I do want to get around to the next section of storytelling there. And I might get around to that this month, or I might not, I'm not really sure. I also do want to start reading JoJo's Part 3, but I have to figure out when to break it up, or how to break it up according to those chapters, because I think it's 129 chapters for that part of the story, so I don't want to do it all in one go because that's just too much. So yeah, let's get into the physical stuff now. Let's start with the easier stuff, although it's going to be out of order from how I wrote it. So starting with Dress Up Darling number 5 and number 6. I think this catches me up to the anime, which I didn't watch, but I know it was pretty popular. And this one gets me ahead of the anime and also keeps me right on track for Volume 7 that should come out sometime in January. So yeah, if you guys have not read My Dress Up Darling yet, it's really, really good. It does have a lot of ecchi, so much so that I actually got carded at my local comic book shop for trying to get this. They had to check that I was actually over 18, which is a really funny occurrence. I thought it was wild. And I thought it was a joke, but it turns out that it was completely serious. And yeah, but it's a very good story. It does have a lot of wholesome elements to it. The main characters, Wakana and Karin, Kitagawa, I think is her name. Or wait, sorry, not Karin, Marin, sorry. Are a very cute pair of characters, and I really appreciate Marin being such a wonderful woman and female character who isn't really like, you know, your usual like tsundere or mean girl kind of thing. And she definitely does have that teasing element that like the main girl from Hokkaido Gals has, or maybe something like Nagatoro later on in the series when she's not a complete bitch has, but she's mostly just a very wholesome person. Wakana is, of course, a very cool guy. And other than that, the story is really, really good. It's really enjoyable. It is a slice-of-life romance comedy kind of thing, plus the added cosplay element, which is where all of the ecchi stuff comes in. So, yeah. Really good stuff. I'm very excited to get into reading it and continuing on with the story. Next, I have Sunken Rock, volumes 3, 4, and 5, which are actually, what is that? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is half of the series. This is going to be a 12 book series because these are 2-in-1s. So here's Sunken Rock 3, which is actually 5 and 6. And here's the back, of course. Boichi can't help himself and draws like with his dick because that's just how it goes. And here's the interior, which is supposed to be the cover for the volume that you don't get to see. So there you go. This one is really good as well, although again, Boichi can't help himself. Yeah, so Sunken Rock is basically Boichi's magnum opus, although from what I've read, I think Origin is a bit better. Mostly because I just like the Origin kind of thematics a little bit more because they are science fiction. This is mostly a gangster manga, and it's set in Korea, where Japanese character Ken goes to visit Yumin, his childhood love, who ends up being a person that also has to do with the mafia, and well, she's hiding it from Ken, and Ken's hiding it from her, and well, you know, situations ensue, and there's a lot of violence, both the normal kind and the more like sexual kind, which is pretty tough to handle for some people, but you know, it is what it is. Oh, this one was actually volume 5. I meant to show you guys this one. Sorry about that. This one's number 4. Here's the back. So yeah, it might be difficult to handle for some people. It's not really the case for me. I don't really have any real qualms with anything. The only stuff that really bothers me in anime and manga kind of stuff is lollies, I guess. But even then, I think sometimes it's handled well, but sometimes it's pretty bad. So it really depends on the situation. I don't think I've ever dropped anything except maybe 1 or 2 manga due to like content in them, other than like the fact that I didn't like it, right? Like as in I didn't find it enjoyable, not as in this is repulsive, which is very different from a lot of other creators. But you know, it is what it is. Everyone has different thresholds for things, and you know, this one might definitely not be for a lot of people, but it is for me, and I really enjoy it. I also just really like Boichi's work in general. So yeah, there you go. Sunken Rock. That's good. Not much else to say about Sunken Rock. And we have Saint Seiya. Oh, these are heavy, man. Oh, sorry. Here's Saint Seiya number 6. This is actually the Content Bond edition, so this is like 7 and 8, actually. Or like 7 and a part of 8. And we have Saint Seiya 7. This one is with Shun on the cover. He looks like a girl in this one. He's not, I swear. He's a guy. Although he does get turned into a girl in the modern version. Here's 8, the kind of like CGI, like claymation looking one. Here's number 9 with my boy Iki. Number 10. 11, back to Seiya with some gold armor. I don't think this is a Sagittarius armor. It doesn't look like it, but it might be. And number 12. This should collect all of Sanctuary, so I will finally be able to finish the first saga of Saint Seiya, and I already purchased the rest of the books that I'm missing, so I will definitely finish covering Saint Seiya sometime next year, and I will be able to show off my full, colorful collection of Saint Seiya, which will be really, really exciting. So, yeah. There really isn't too much else to say. The best part of Sanctuary definitely is the Gold Knights segment of the story, which is exactly what's going on right now in these volumes. So it's going to be very, very good. If you're interested in Saint Seiya, you can read it on the Shonen Jump app as part of their Vault system, which also probably means that we're not going to get a physical release of that ever again, unless, you know, something happens. Or they're gearing up to get the physical release for the new and improved Master Edition of Masumi Karimada's or sorry, how do you say his name? Masada Kuru, wait, no. Well, Kurumada's work, whatever his first name is. Masami Kurumada. He, not recently, but in the last couple of years, he's made like the most definitive version of his story that encompasses all of the other stuff that he's managed to work on throughout the years. And that one is recently going to be released in Mexico as well. So I have the Count and Bond edition, but I might buy that edition as well, depending on how many major changes there are to the series. I'm not sure, but this one has color pages, it has fold-out posters and a bunch of stuff that I really, really like. So I probably won't upgrade or double dip into that other series unless it's very, very different. So that's it for Saint Seiya. But yeah, you can read it on the Shonen Jump app, and it's free. Well, no, actually, you have to pay the subscription, but it has everything in there, and it's pretty good. I definitely recommend it. HBO Manga got into it through the Shonen Jump app, and well, it's a really great story. Definitely recommend you guys check it out. So yeah, and then finally we have Chi's Sweet Home #1, which I'm really looking forward to because I think it's a really cute story, and it will be really good to have something like that for Christmas time. Here's #2. I bought these all from Target a while back. Here's #3. And the last one, #4. So yeah, these are vertical releases, so they're very, very sturdy and very, very nice. And well, I don't really know too much about it, but it's kind of this like kid manga, if I remember correctly. And it's supposed to be very, very cute and very, very good. So yeah, that's it for me. Let me double check that though. Oh, I also missed, I actually did have something digital and I missed it, which is those Snow White Notes. This is a shoujo manga, if I remember correctly. It's about this dude that plays the shimasen, I think is what it's called. The, you know, the Japanese like 2-string violin thing with the giant pick. That makes really beautiful music. But this is the last thing besides Devil's Line, which I have not finished reading yet. I will finish reading it today after this video. That I have left over from 2021. So I definitely want to read it before the year ends so that I can clean off my slate from 2021 and focus only on the leftovers I have from 2022. So yeah, that was a digital manga, but you know, I missed the window, so whatever. But yeah, other than that, there really isn't anything else on my list, and I don't necessarily plan on getting to everything here, except for the stuff from last month, plus those Snow White Notes. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.